we're never going to have it be that we can say to even ourselves, let alone anybody who's watching, here's the exact prescription for your spiritual life right now.
Right.
Because that would be like saying, well, everybody here needs to take vitamin D.
Yeah.
Because vitamin D is so good for you. Let me list the benefits of vitamin D. It does this, it does that, it helps with your mood and your digestion. And that. You got to take vitamin D. If you already have enough vitamin D in your system, it's toxic for you to take extra vitamin D.
That's right.
However, there are, so the individual journey of health for an individual depends on what you need and what you're doing. However, there's truths that can help guide things. Yeah. I remember once hearing that there was, there's all these different diets. And somebody was saying there's this, is it Atkins diet where you don't eat carbs?
Yeah, I think
so. There's Atkins diet.
Low carb, right.
You don't eat carbs. There's this other diet from Japan, I forget what its name is, which is almost all carbs. Both of them make you lose weight because they both cut out sugar.
Right.
So it is with, in general, there's this toxic love of self. And the more, which as we're getting to, is the devil, according to Swedenborg. That creates spiritual inflammation. And the less you can have of that, the better.
Yeah, that's right.
That is universally, 4 out of 5 doctors agree. So not quite universal.
That's right.
But 4 out of 5 doctors agree that that's pretty good thing to do. Also, you were saying before the process of trying to go from hell into heaven, which is that's what I feel like I'm trying to do all the time. Right. Go from hell into heaven. To feel like you're making any progress in that, or to try to do it, you got to have sort of a sense of what the big picture is. Because as you said, am I moving from hell to heaven right now because I'm experiencing all these challenging times and things, so this must not be going right. It'd be like if you didn't understand the process of growing from being a 3-year-old into being a 20-year-old. And you're like, this is going terrible. All my teeth are falling out. I'm having these like growing pains. Like now I'm more awkward now at 13 than I was at 4. Like this is going worse and worse.
It's bad. Right.
But so it's the same thing with understanding the process of going from hell to heaven, which is the human journey for everyone, which is what the Bible is. All these stories of the Israelites go into this country and there's these people there that are going to attack them and they have to, that's the story through correspondential symbols. That's the story. Here's what to expect. It's just like they hand you a pamphlet that's like, here's what to expect when you turn 16 and here's something you're going to have, or here's developmental milestones for your kids.
That's right.
From at age 6, they're going to start doing more of this or more of that. That's what the Bible is for you trying to get from hell to heaven. And unless you know that program, and unless you know what to look for, you're never going to be able to stay on course.
I can't remember if I've shared this before, but sometimes in my life I've been very, very turned around. Things that I thought were really good and were important, and I was being bold and courageous in doing those things, turned out to be bad things to do, and I sort of humiliated myself at whatever it was. But
this show,
I just thought that
let's look back on this in 20 years.
Swedenborg talks about your intentions. People say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Swedenborg says the road to heaven is paved with good intentions, meaning that if you genuinely, what your heart desires, what you're going for, that's very important, what you intend, what your purpose is. So, yes, hell will try to oppose you, get you turned around, get you confused and all that kind of stuff. But there's another team on the field. The Lord is also drawing you. Angels are drawing you. Yeah. And that the Lord knows the process. We don't even, we don't know west, east, north, south. Am I going up or down? I don't know what I'm doing. But the Lord knows.
Yeah.
And over time, I think that intention, sooner or later, you might be on the wrong track. But if you keep asking the question, am I on the right track? This is where I want to go. The Lord will help you get there.
Where do you want to go? That's what we're looking at here. Because you ask somebody, what's exactly. A happy life? What's the best life that you could have? And if your answer to that is something along the lines of, well, if I was top of my something in this, and if the people that I don't like failed at this, and I was able to get this kind of power and this kind of wealth, and then I would have a great life. That's you're walking toward hell when you think what you're trying to do is walk toward heaven.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought about people who say, where do you want to be? What's your goal? And they say, not here. I don't have a goal. I just don't like where I am right now. It is important to have some sort of a vision. It can be hard to acquire. But like, where would you like to be? Is there somebody in your life who's somewhere that you would like to be?
Yeah. Let's talk about what we don't want to be. This is the attributes of destructive self-love.
So important. So important.
Yeah, this is where the character of this phenomenon, the Swedenborg, the translation is self-love. This is where the character of it starts to shine through.
Yeah.
People engage in self-love when they despise their neighbor in comparison with themselves.
That's pretty blanket. Like the neighbor, that's basically, the other 8 billion people on the planet,
Yeah.
morons, every one of them.
Yeah, or
There's a clip for you.
Or just, yeah, like that's a hot take.
Yeah,
That's a hot take. Dr. Rose calls out 8 billion people, quote, morons. Dr. Rose, PhD. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a self-centered, hellish point of view.
But one that we kind of implicitly all carry. It's like those people are out there, who cares? They're not really real.
Yeah.
And consider their neighbor an enemy if he or she does not fawn on them and worship them.
That's a very important. Is it okay if I make comments about this as we go? Because I think that's such an important one. Like, it's a real sign of a certain sort of spiritual maturity if somebody says something you don't want to hear and you hold them in the same regard as you did before they, like a kind of a shibboleth, a way of testing and seeing whether you're having that self-love attitude toward the people around you, or you're genuinely have a love for your neighbor, is how do you react when they take a different position, or when they're actually critical of something that you did, or something like that.
Dude.
Because that pure self-love is like, I can tolerate no dissent. We can be friends, fair weather friends, as long as you're singing my praises. But if I hear one word from you about, maybe this wasn't so good, or you didn't like what no, man, we're done.
It's so easy for me to see about these videos. If anybody leaves a comment that says they like these videos, I like them.
Besties forever.
I can feel, or somebody says like, I watch your videos, I like them. I don't care what the rest of you is all about. You're all right with me.
You're all right with me.
You're all right with me. Even if, so sometimes we'll get comments, especially if we get an episode that is big, and a bunch of new people who've never seen the channel. We'll often get comments of like, when it's you and me, like, let your guest talk more. You're talking too much as the host. And I'm like, I hate that person. But if there's ever one, and not that there ever would be one, where they're like, saying to you, like, you shouldn't, Jonathan shouldn't talk so much, let Curtis, I'm like, that guy's all right.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
No, that's a savvy person.
And that's even like, I consider you one of my people, meaning like we have a lot in common. We're good friends.
Close.
But even there, like that love of self is just like, it's involuntary, but it's just like, it's just the character of it. It's like,
and this is an important point, because what Swedenborg is not saying, the goal is not that you have none of this. The goal is not that you have none of these characters. If you're paying attention, you get the whole list. We all do. We know that. We know those feelings. It's what is in control, active control of your life. Like, do you ban people who say negative things about the show, or do you know what I mean?
no, how do I,
or get rid of me because the audience likes me too much, so you need to get somebody where you shine more or something.
I've been here from the beginning, and now you're all crazy about Okay.
Yeah, we got to get rid of this.
This is- this
so.
is-
Does it take over? It's not.
Yeah.
Is it there in the mix? Because it's in the mix for everybody. It's part of the human condition.
And what's your attitude toward your own self when that stuff comes up?
Ah, that's good.
Like if
That's
you
really, really
see
good.
it, it's there. A million things are there. You can't help it. You get all, and these are relatively non-serious examples that we're giving here. But when it comes up, how do you label it? Do you understand that this is that's a hell? That's a form of hell, and that's also why you're miserable when you're in that state. Is
Right.
because it's a form, and it will never. Peter Rhodes, author, is fond of saying that it's a divine impossibility to satisfy the human ego. Is that you will it will
that's
never. This is another characteristic of why that love is hell. That Swedenborg says, and you can see it for yourself.
bottomless pit.
It's never satisfied. It's never satisfied. You get we do one of these videos and it gets a bunch of views and we're like, yeah, we're so great. If the next one doesn't get, it's like, oh, I'm not so great. And it's never satisfied. Or if people
That's right.
people compliment you for stuff and you're like, well, but I want more. Or I want people to say something.
Want a better compliment.
Want a better compliment.
Yeah, right.
It is promising you. It will give you some temporary happiness, but it is not ever satisfied.
That is exactly what the hell is, in a way, isn't it? That it's insatiable. And Swedenborg sees this because he says a lot of us don't have opportunities. You know, not everybody in the world is going to be rich. Not everybody's going to get everything they want or have all the physical health they want or whatever kind of thing. So he says you don't even realize how these things lurk. But if you suddenly had, $10 billion dropped into your bank account and you suddenly had a whole entourage of people, how would you actually be? Would you be kindly or would you be, here's my chance to crush my enemies and,
Didn't they do that experiment? Like, I don't know if this was debunked or not, but the prison guard experiment at that one school, or they there
was a very serious thing
a
about
bunch
that.
of
Right.
students who were dressed up and had power, and so they didn't. And very quickly, you start to go crazy.
It went downhill very, very in a matter of a couple of days. Yeah.
There's a movie that I don't know if I just saw it or a clip from it, but it was about this oil baron guy who was the richest person who had ever lived back in his day. And he was saying, when you get extreme wealth, an abyss of possibilities opens up, and very few people can survive that.
Yeah, it seems to be so. Like it's been interesting to me to see the musicians that I loved when I was younger. A lot of them are older now, but some people just I feel for them. They spiraled into addiction and crash, burn. It's a car accident. It's a train accident or something, and then it's amazing to see some of the people who are kind of healthy and normal and don't have an oversized ego, even though they were like really hot, greatest hits kind of.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see, but I think it's hard when you really get extraordinary power and wealth. Yeah. And so we can all say, oh, I wouldn't, but we don't know because we don't have enough money, or, we don't know those temptations.
But you have little versions of that. You have your road rage people. And so I'll read this next, the rest of this quote. It says, they engage even more deeply in self-love when they hate and persecute their neighbor on that account. Still more deeply when they burn with revenge against their neighbor on that account and do not desire their neighbor's ruin. In the end, such people love to vent their rage on their neighbor, and if they are adulterers, they turn abusive. So road rage.
Interesting.
So road rage is, you think you're going along and you're kind of a reasonable person, but somebody makes you mad somehow, and you want to destroy them.
Yeah.
And that you see this all the time. This is something that happens to the human race.
It's got a name.
Or this, and any like true crime show, it's like somebody gets jilted by some person that they were dating or something, and then they just like spiral into this and they go kill people. That's in there.
Yeah, that burning with revenge. And so I like the way Swedenborg has that in the, you've got it bad if it's this, it's worse if it's here, right? It's really bad if it's
Yeah.
here, you know. And so he's giving you a little sort of a, like, I don't know, I used to be in a house that had a swimming pool, and you'd have a little test strip that you'd dip in the water, and then you'd see if what's going on in there. You know,
pH.
sort of like, to test all the level of this and that in there. And yeah.
All right. So let's go to the next number. I feel like something that I don't know if we communicated this well enough is that we're giving these extreme examples of the love of self, but mostly we experience it in subtle ways.